Are you wondering how mast cell activation syndrome and Ehlers Danlos syndrome are connected? My name is Dr. Taranella, and in this video, we're going to break down mast cell activation syndrome and EDS, and we'll look at how some of the symptoms overlap and what the underlying physiology is that's connecting two seemingly separate things and make them seem so similar. So again, my name is Dr. Taranella, and each video that I make to help you go beyond basic health, but they're not specifically designed for any individual. So please read this medical disclaimer before we jump into the video details. So in this video, we're going to look at how MCAS and EDS are related. MCAS, if you don't know, is mast cell activation syndrome, and EDS is Ehlers Danlos syndrome. These two medical conditions are distinct problems or distinct physiological things going on, but they can sometimes coexist or share a lot of overlapping symptoms, leading some people to ask the question, how are they related? And that's what we're going to discuss in this video. But first, let's look separately at what each one is, and then we'll get into some of the overlap and how they're related both symptom-wise and physiologically. So first, Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, or EDS. EDS basically refers to a group of genetic connective tissue disorders, and it's characterized by weakness in collagen production, and it stems mainly from genetic alterations in collagen synthesis. With this weakness in the collagen, there's more joint hypermobility. So these people are classically like double jointed and can move their joints in all kinds of strange positions. There can also be really elastic skin or skin hyperextensibility and tissue fragility. So just more sensitive, more fragile tissues and joints in general. And there's several different subtypes of EDS, each one being associated with a distinct genetic alteration affecting collagen or some other connective tissue problem. So with EDS, joint hypermobility and its associated pain is the key clinical feature. But individuals with EDS may also experience a range of other systemic symptoms affecting things like skin, blood vessels, internal organs, and other tissues. And those symptoms and presentations can vary widely depending on the type of EDS that you have. Now, on the mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS, this is a condition where mast cells, which is a type of white blood cell, are going to be overly responsive or release excessive amounts of chemical mediators such as histamine and other immune molecules. The increased activation in the mast cells can lead to a variety of symptoms and affect many different tissues throughout the body. These types of symptoms, the symptoms of mast cell activation syndrome, can include things like skin rashes, itching, abdominal pain, and other digestive problems like diarrhea, headaches, respiratory problems, urinary tract problems. Triggers for mast cell activation syndrome can vary a lot, but it could be something as simple as physical exertion or changes in weather, stress, lots of different food triggers and environmental triggers, and more commonly, infectious diseases. See my other video on mast cell activation triggers for more on this topic. So now let's look at how some of these things are overlapped and what the underlying physiology might be that are connecting these two conditions. So some individuals with EDS, in particular the hypermobile form, or HEDS, may experience symptoms suggestive of mast cell activation, and that's where a lot of people start to think that they may have both or just one condition and not two, because sometimes people get diagnosed with two different things. And there certainly does seem to be a lot of overlap, the big one being pain and postural tachycardia syndrome, or POTS. Outside of the genetic factors in EDS, the increased histamine and inflammation is also proposed as kind of a unified mechanism linking the two, EDS and mast cell, together. Before getting into this too much, let's look closer at how mast cell activation syndrome and EDS are related based on symptom presentation. So both can have things affecting the respiratory tract like allergic rhinitis, asthma, skin problems like urticaria or just itchy skin, digestive problems like celiac disease, eosinophilic esophagitis, inflammatory bowel disease, and other functional digestive disorders like constipation, diarrhea. There's also rheumatological problems, neuropathies, and pain. Menstrual disturbances are quite common like amenorrhagia or increased menses, pain in the urinary tract or pain in the vaginal area, and there's a lot of autonomic problems as well. So on the joint hypermobility and pain, both the mast cell activation syndrome type conditions and the hypermobile EDS involve joint hypermobility and pain as a key characteristic feature. With mast cell, there's more of a central immune component going on, and with EDS, there's the inability to repair the damaged tissue and increase susceptibility to the underlying damage. There's also the overlap on the connective tissue and immune dysfunction. Connective tissues are part of every single organ and are all over in our bodies, so that with EDS, dysfunction in this connective tissue can lead to problems with a lot of areas, including, as we said, respiratory, digestive, urinary, reproductive, etc. All of our connective tissues, in fact, all of our tissues throughout our body need to repair and turn over periodically. This involves the immune system and immune cells. If that repair process can't occur or is limited, there can be increased immune activity or increased inflammation. Not to mention the fact that the mast cells are a key component of the immune cells in the connective tissue. Now, from the mast cell activation syndrome perspective, many mast cells can be found in connective tissue, as I just discussed, so that dysfunctional mast cells can also trigger problems in connective tissue, even if that connective tissue is not genetically altered or vulnerable like that seen in EDS. So one person has increased immune activity as the spark leading to the connective tissue problems, and the other has connective tissue problems leading to increased immune activity. There are also genetic mutations linking the two that have been suggested, and the main one being the tryptase beta 1 mutation or TPS-AB1 gene. And these have been suggested in both cell activation syndrome and joint hypermobility problems. If we base things mainly on symptoms, the distinction is going to fall predominantly on the immune system in mast cell activation syndrome versus the hypermobile and pain-related problems with EDS. Still, symptoms alone aren't enough to effectively diagnose and treat these conditions. So if you have questions on this topic, you can ask them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer that question. If you want a more customized answer, consider signing up for a membership, and with this, I'll be able to make them more useful. Either way, I hope this video gives you a better understanding of how mast cell activation syndrome and EDS are related. If it does, don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this one. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.